and they'd take sticks or hoe handles to another, and when there wasn't nobody at home, they'd gouge that chink and stuff out. And if they know Granny was there by herself, why they'd treat her pretty mean. And Grandpa got tired of it, and he sold all that land. No, he didn't sell it. He deeded it to his first children, and come down here on the sugar camp and bought a huge amount of land. I don't know, a whole lot. And before he died, he deeded it. But just when he died, he just left Mommy and Dicey and Uncle Nana. And he deeded each one of them a certain amount of land. And Uncle Nana built a pretty good house on his. It was rough boards and everything, but it was a big house. Oh, not big, but
big for those times.
Yeah. And Mommy built a little two-room house on her land, and Dicey built a fairly good house right across from where Uncle Nana lives. You know what the holler there where Dave Roberts lives now? What do they call that? Groundhog Walk? No.
They got a groundhog hollow out there.
Yeah. That's what it is, Groundhog. Okay. And then the next holler's Town Fort.
Okay.
That's Groundhog Fort. They built their houses at the mouth of the Groundhog Fort. Well, Dicey and Daniel didn't get along. And he sold his to Gus Cole, an old Baptist preacher that lived up in Hillsboro, a Groundhog Fort, and bought a farm and had a sugar cane. Moved up there.
That's Uncle Daniel?
Yeah, Uncle Daniel. And he built him a great big basin, big as both of these rooms. Built it up with rocks and still had the dirt floor in it. But he made moonshine, and that's where he had still at, down the moonshine, and that smoke went up his chimney. He had it fixed till the smoke would go up the chimney. There was nobody's suspicion of still being there. And he lived there and he raised his children there.
Slick.
And this old man, Har Casebo, had a store at the mouth of sugar cane, and he got his groceries and produce and stuff in there. Somehow or other, he'd take his horse and wagon across some kind of he'd go down Suckus Creek on the high across the hill from sugar cane.
You can go over the hill there.
Well, that's why he hauled his and when he'd go get groceries, he'd take Uncle Daniel's moonshine to town and sell it. He had certain people he sold it to. He didn't sell it to nobody here in the neighborhood. But they'd take it to town and sell it to lawyers and doctors and anybody that wanted to buy it. And
now is that
made people think he's dead.
I say Uncle Daniel.
Uncle Mama's brother.
Brother, okay.
Yeah.
Is he still alive?
No.
That was Dave's father?
Oh, Mommy, yeah. Yeah, I guess so, because Dave...
Bully's
grandfather was Mommy's nephew. He was Uncle Neil's son.
Bully's grandfather was?
Yeah.
Okay.
And, but Uncle Daniel would make that big moonshine, and Aunt Eddie'd make big, huge washed up clothes of gingerbread. And when election time rolled around, Uncle Daniel furnished the moonshine, and she took the gingerbread to the election ground and sold it.
Huh.
And one time she had a whole lot of moonshine down under her gingerbread. They didn't arrest her, but I know they had enough. Well, she must have been trying to make her some extra money, because she had it hid down under her gingerbread. And Uncle Daniel found out about it. He, somehow or other he got away.
Was it his moonshine?
It was his moonshine.
Okay.
That's why I said she must have been in to try to make her a little extra money, you know.
She'd slipped some of his moonshine out.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Maybe she's trying to buy
he was a good old feller, but he was a strong Democrat. He was
Uncle Allen was a strong Democrat.
oh, he was a strong Democrat. He didn't like Republicans at all. That's the reason why he didn't like my daddy.
Huh.
Because Poppy was a strong
I
Republican,
knew
but he
Poppy.
didn't make a big fuss about it. He'd just go vote for Republican, and a bunch of wild caves couldn't have made him change his mind.
Yeah.
He voted Republican. Mama was Democrat, so that's why I become a Democrat, because I thought the Democrat name sounded pretty and a Republican sounded. So that's how I...
Were you a Democrat before you married Daddy?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I chose to be a Democrat, but the first vote I ever voted, I voted Republican because Mama didn't like the Democrats. It was running again the Republican. So me and her went together, and you had to be 21 before you could vote then. And I was 21. And she took me down there, and I was so embarrassed among all them people and everything. All old people jabbering her in, a little bunch here and a little bunch there. But I voted Democrat and stuck my whatever I voted on down in a hole in a box. It was a little hole in a box.
Just a little paper ballot.
Paper box with a cover on it, and we just stuck it down in the box.
Well.
And John was raised a Republican. I don't know how come him to be a Democrat.
I just figured you became a Democrat after you married Daddy. Daddy was raised a Republican?
Yeah. Grandpa was...
Lilburn?
Lilburn was a Republican.
I didn't know that.
And,
I mean, I knew there was a company set of Republicans, but...
yeah. And Grandma was Republican. Maybe... No, most of that set of Newsom's was Republicans.
Well, that's the same set of Newsom Darwin was in. His family?
No, distant.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking that Darwin's grandpa and
Well, they
Daddy's
was,
grandpa
they
or
was
something, or
distant
brothers or
relatives.
something.
They wasn't that close.
I knew they was like third, fourth, fifth, well, fourth, fifth, sixth.
But you know, a lot of times I think, well, I should have been a Republican because I had an awful good daddy. And but I just couldn't bring myself to being a Republican.
Mm-hmm. I just never thought about it. I just thought you became a Democrat when you married Daddy.
No.
Huh.
If I'd been a Republican, a strong Republican, as I was a Democrat, John couldn't change me and made me be a Democrat. Because I would have been loyal to my party. Which, if I'd been a Republican, I'd been like my daddy. I'd been a calm Republican. I wouldn't have made a fuss over it. But I would have voted Republican. But I didn't feel that way. I felt like the Democrats sound so pretty. Not that, you know, I wouldn't run the other party down. But, you know, sometimes the Republicans can get pretty nasty.
Yeah.
And sometimes the Democrats can get pretty crooked.
Yeah.
And, but
Yeah.
It was there.
So you was born October the 8th, 1913?
Yeah. On
Of sugar cane.
On sugar cane.
Doctor, by doctor, by midwife.
An old midwife.
Well, I'm sure you don't remember a whole lot about it,
Well,
but I know that you've heard.
Faintly, I remember something about it. 'Cause I guess when I was born and I seen that old woman sitting there, I thought, you done here. No, I didn't say that, but I
Were you the oldest?
No, Opal was.
Opal.
She was
That's
born
right.
1911.
Okay, and then you were second oldest.
Second.
And then who was after you?
Ellis.
Ellis.
Mm.
Coleman.
Ellis.
Then James.
Hazel.
Hazel's older than James? You think?
Yeah, and then James and David.
Oh,
And
okay.
David and James. James is the baby.
Oh. I always thought David was the baby.
No, James. But anyhow, Opal was a little weakling. And she was so tiny when she became 6 years old. And Mommy wouldn't send her to school by herself, so I was 4 years old. And Mommy started me in school when I was 4 years old, just like John baby is now, same age as he's at. So
So that Opal wouldn't have to go by herself.
she wouldn't have to go by herself. She'd have protection because I was so much bigger than her.
Hmm.
Even if she was older, I was larger than her. And we lived in Head Sugar Camp.
So you what? You went to the 9th grade?
Yeah. No, I went in the 8th grade twice because we lived just a garden between the schoolhouse and I didn't have nothing else to do, so I went to school until I completed the 8th grade, and I quit when I was 16, and I'd gone to 8th grade.
You went to school 12 years, didn't you?
Huh?
You went to school 12 years.
Yeah.
From age 4 to age 16.
Good thing Oprah didn't want to go to college. I had went right along.
Where'd you go to school at?
My first school was up here at Sugar Cane.
Just a one-room school?
One-room school with a big old pot-bellied stove in it, and the boys sat over here, and the girls sat over here. And the girls write notes and flip them over to the boys, and the boys write and flip them back over to the girls. And I'll tell you this little joke. I don't know. Now maybe I shouldn't tell it on camera.
All right, go ahead.
Okay.
Well, when I was in about 5th grade, about 6th grade, that was the year James started school. And these boys made it up all to go up to the toilet. The toilet had big cracks in it that you stick your finger through it. They was going to play a game. They was going to stick their thumbs through there and let the girls guess whose thumb that was. And one of them didn't stick his thumb through it.
That's something else for you.
Yeah. One of these girls walked over and said, "Whose big thumb's that ain't got no nail on it?" And that's really the truth. It's not a joke. It really happened. And so life just went on and on and on.
What?
Um,
On that school there, how far did you go? How many years did you go to school up?
Up Sugar Cane.
Or where else?
That's well now. When I guess when I was about 7 years old, I went to school over at Douglas for 1 year.
Is it called Douglas then?
No, it's called JB. And the post office was a different name. It wasn't Douglas or JB or I forget what it was. But anyway, they used the building as a theater. Mine was big time then, you know.
J.B. Mining Company?
Yeah. And old man Ison down here was, Matthew Ison was the teacher. And we walked up the stairway up on the outside and went in. They had moved us at night. School the next day.
Is that what, J.B. Mining Company building?
Yeah, it was, they built the school.
Okay.
The company built the school. But that year that I went over there, my old man Ison taught, and he was, at that time they called them Camellites. He was a Camelite. Now I think
Campbellite.
they changed it. Yeah, they changed it to a Christian church, I think.
Church of Christ?
Church of Christ. And he held prayer every morning. And I was kind of curious. He'd make us bow our heads. He was praying, and I thought, I'm going to see what he looks like when he's praying. I raised my head up, and somebody hollered, "Ellie, raise your head up." He said, "Drop your head, Ellie." Kept on praying. He was part fun and part, I don't know what you'd call it. It wasn't, I'd say it wasn't too pleasant, nor it wasn't too bad.
Part fun, part hard.
Yeah, it was rough on us. We lived there in that camp a year. That's when, during the...
How old were you?
I guess I was maybe 7 or something like that. And what epidemic did break out? Was typhoid or smallpox?
What, in the 1920 influenza? Flu epidemic?
No, it was smallpox. No. Yeah, it was smallpox. And it was so contagious, and they didn't have much doctor with, you know. And that's coming a long ways from 19 and 20 back to what I was in, I don't remember. about 1920.
7 years old, been 1920. 1920, 1921.
But anyhow, this epidemic, I believe it's smallpox. And everybody was dying, 2 or 3 had died a day. And
Where?
in the camp, in the mining camp,
Oh,
JB.
just in JB.
Well, it's everywhere.
Yeah, but I mean, but 2 or 3 people in that one camp.
That one little camp would die. And sometimes the daddy and 2 or 3 children would be laying dead, or the mother and 2 or 3 children. And Mommy and Poppy waited on. They'd go sit up all night with them, and then Poppy go to work the next day. And but when Mommy would go and take care of a family, when she come back, we had no toilet, outside toilet cold, but she'd put her some clothes in that toilet. And when she come back, she'd change clothes in the toilet. And when she got in the house, she'd wash her hands and face. And as everybody else, nobody had anything to disinfect with, and only lye, just plain old homemade soap and lye. And Mommy'd wash the sheets and the pillowcases and iron them so it can kill the germs. And if she washed the quilts and blankets, she hung them out. In the wintertime, she'd hang them out and let them freeze. And none of us got it. And I think by her being that careful with, to keep from carrying germs, kept us from not getting it.
Yeah, for that many people.
And Mommy had a cousin lived there in the camp at that time. We lived in the upper camp, and she lived in the lower camp. And Mommy went down there to help somebody to give. She got some help and went and gave this, Elizabeth was her name, and to go give her a bath and change her bedclothes. And she had lice in her head. Mommy said when they got to trying to comb her hair and straighten her up, the back of her head was just full of bugs. I don't know where they got rid of them. Anyhow, she died the next day. And no matter how many families Mom and Poppy waited on, we never did catch no diseases.
It's lucky.
We had the measles when I was 13 years old. We don't know where we got it. But it's pretty rough, and doctor gave me up, and among the rest of them, and he said there's no use in me coming back where I can't do anything else.
Give you up to die.
Give me up to die with measles. And Mama said, I won't let her die. And he said, well, you can keep anybody from dying even more than I can. And she got me out of bed and gave me a hot bath. And made some kind of poultice or something, laid on my chest. And put me back in bed and covered me with 3 or 4 quilts. And the next morning I could breathe easy.
Is that right? Huh?
And that homemade remedies is what?
Some kind of just herbs and stuff?
Herbs and stuff. Coal oil, turpentine. Are you all back?
Yeah, I just got back.
Who's on the game?
Rusty's team won, and Chris's team is still playing. Score was tied when we left.
And
The measles was supposed to be fatal?
oh yeah, a lot of people died with measles when that epidemic went through. But smallpox was just as dangerous. But we didn't get smallpox either. We didn't get whooping cough until I was in my teens.
Old enough to fight it off.
Yeah. And we just go from mine in town to mine in town until my papa still worked in the mines after we left Greasy Creek and moved over to Robinson Creek.
Let's see, you left Sugar Cane, went up to JB.
We left Sugar Creek and went back to Greasy Creek. That mine opened up over there.
Now that's where
Papa's, where Papa was
I
raised.
know that's where he's raised at.
Yeah, and I forget the name of that coal company that I remembered it.
Now, wasn't there a feud there? Somebody got killed, or a bunch of people
Yeah,
got
there
killed?
was in the Greasy Creek mining camp. These 2 Brandon boys.
Was it there one of them say it's Simmet Salvi? Was that the name of it?
No, it was,
That was their failure.
yeah. I forget the name of this. It'll come to me sometime or other. But,